Hi, welcome to this video on how to paint simple summer flowers in watercolour. Takes about 15 minutes, so I really hope you enjoy it. Paint along or save the video and paint later. Please do post your results on Facebook. Show me on my Penny's Paintings page. That would be amazing. Enjoy, and off we go. The paper I'm using is Art watercolour paper. It's very economical. I cut mine down from big sheets. If you don't have watercolour paper, that's fine. You can use for this one, this picture, you can use plain white paper that you might use for drawing or sketching on. But you'll see how the paint reacts with watercolour paper as I go. Let's start off by drawing in the poppy shapes. You can go straight on with paint, but if you prefer to draw the outline, that's fine. They're very simple shapes. There's petal 1, petal 2, these kind of triangles with the top cut off, and then just take the side petal round, something like that, a bit like a clover shape. There's my triangle. And I'm just going to curve that side of it, okay? And then I'm going to just curve the top. So it's kind of a curved triangle. Then we'll have one over here, which is a sharper triangle, something like that. And we're going to take the curve the other way. And again, bit of a curve on the top there. Okay, so there are our poppies. We're going to put the yellow flowers in, which again are triangles, but quite shallow. And again, we're going to just curve underneath and on the top. I'll have one over here. Curve it underneath, on the top, and then we'll put our buttercups in, which are figures of 8, so these can go pretty much anywhere. Figure of 8, a bit like we used to draw the flowers when we were at school, I think. So the first colour we're going to put on is the red for the poppies. So I'm taking my wet brush straight into my red paint. Just going to have a look at it here. Yep, I have picked up red. It's always worth checking. So I'm putting my brush straight into the red paint, and I'm going to take it straight on her. I'm going to start in the centre of the plant, centre of the flower, and just paint outwards. And if you paint in the direction of nature, you tend to get the right brush strokes, you know, rather than kind of paint from the centre of the petal outwards. And it also gives you that quite nice uneven finish around the petal. While the paint is still wet, I'm cleaning my brush. I have quite a lot of water on it, so I'm just going to take a little bit of the water off, and I'm going to go into the lemon yellow, but you can use either yellow, because I want these poppies to be a slightly different shade, not all the same red. So I've painted yellow over the top while they're still wet, which kind of makes it orange. And I want a little bit more yellow, perhaps on one side. Okay, and the same again here. I'm having to clean my brush in between to pick up the yellow because obviously I've got red paint on my brush from where it's wet. Okay, so just a little bit of variety there. Now if you've got purple, great, if not blue's fine. And I'm just dabbing a tiny bit of purple. And I'm going to just, you can use blue, just dot the centre of this poppy. I've got a nice point on this brush, but it doesn't matter if you haven't. And then I'm just going to show the purple, the base here. And those are my poppies done. Cleaning my brush, I'm going back to the yellow, straight out of the paint pan. Again, the same technique. Now these are kind of dandelion-y things, so we're going to be a bit braver. So starting at the where the stem would go, we want quite a jagged edge, so we're just shooting out in lines. Great, so same again, while the paint is still wet, I'm going to take a little bit of the, I'm going to show you a little bit of mixing now, so I'm going to take the yellow and some of that red, so I've got this orange coming, and I'm just going to take it underneath. In fact, that's not, doesn't feel orange enough for me, so I'm going to put a little bit more red in. Oh, that's better. Okay, cleaning my brush again, I'm going for the Buttercups, which of course is straight on yellow. And literally we're just colouring these in because they're very round, waxy petals, so you can literally just go crazy. Centre of those, so again, I'll take the yellow, clean my brush, just dabbed it on my kitchen roll, and I'm going to take a bit of my blue. I'm going to show the blue to the palette and then bring the colours together. Yep, something nice and bright. And then I'm just going to dot the centre. Now, with watercolour, you can see how the paint, we call it grows, because this yellow paint is still wet. This doesn't always happen on plain drawing paper, but you can still get a nice effect on plain drawing paper. So those are our buttercups. Now you'll notice that there were cornflowers in here, which I haven't drawn in, because we're going to do those freehand. They're easy. So I'm going to take my blue. I'm going to put one here. So we're going to just do a circle, you know, a football. Not too big, you know, about just under the size of your buttercup here. And then starting from what would be the centre of the football, be very brave and just flick. Okay, that's one. Make him, that's it. I think I'll have another one here. When you're doing your painting, you can just throw these flowers in any way you like. And as many as you like. And I'll probably put one which is a circular one, maybe here actually. So I'm going to do the football, and this time we're going all the way round. Okay, that's our other cornflower. Now, if you've got purple, that's what we want next, but I'm going to show you what to do if you haven't. So do you remember the red we had? Clean my brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of the blue. Again, I'm going to show it, start over here, bring it in. There we go. That's just about as dark as I want it, I think. And I'm just going to put a little bit of darkness at the bottom here, in the centre here. That is quite dark, as it is. Okay. So, all our flowers are in. So now it's the stems. Now we already had a quite nice bit of green here. I showed you how to make purple. I have a purple, which is really nice, but you can see it's very bright. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of red. That's better. And I'm going to put my poppy stems in first in the dark purple, if you remember here. So it gives the painting a little bit of depth. And they're going to go behind the other flowers. Now, actually, I'll just show you a little trick before we start, because sometimes this can be a bit nerve-wracking. I do have lots of bits of paper, scrap paper, to practice on. So if you want to practice stems, do this really quickly, holding the brush vertical, and you get lovely fine lines. So you can practice on your scrap paper, and when you feel you've got it, I'm going to start here, and I'm going quite fast all the way down. Oh, it's a bit thick. So there are my, what sometimes happens when we do a stem is we kind of, and it gets really thick. The faster you go, the better it is. Now we're going to go for green. Now we've got a little bit of green here, so I'm going to start with that. And what I think happens with buttercups sometimes is they all join up onto one kind of stem. So I'm going to put a little marker where I want all my buttercups to line up. Pretend there's one going off there somewhere. And then that will come down here. Now I'm just going to show you the difference between this brush and this brush, which is called a rigger. It doesn't matter if you haven't got this one, you've seen me do it with the other brush. So I want a different shade of green now, so I'm going to add a little bit more blue to that green. And believe it or not, a little bit of red. And I'm just going to put a little triangle at the bottom of these dandelions, I don't know. And again, now you see how lovely and thin you get with this rigger brush. If you can afford one, I think they're so worthwhile. Then we're going to put the stem on the cornflowers again. Let's just put a little bobble at the bottom. I'm going to, you don't really see cornflowers like that, they're normally on another stem, so I'm going to kind of take a couple of, and then I might join this one on, and maybe that one. Actually, I forgot to do a few leaves here, just do a little bit of. So now we're going to have a look at the grass. And the way we do that is very similar to the stems. I'll start off with the green I've already got. My paper's held down with masking tape. It doesn't matter if you haven't, because it just, as long as your paper is nice and flat. But something nice that happens if you do frame your paper with masking tape, if you go off the bottom, this is how you get this nice frame. Starting off your paper very quickly, just vertical, fast strokes. Now I've gone from the place where my stems have finished, just to give it a bit of shape. And then last of all, let's go back to some green. I'm going to put the brush on its side horizontally and do some upside down ticks. So we're going up, tick, run out of paint. Oh, it's from off the bottom of my page, up, tick. Put something there and something there. And there we have our picture of summer flowers. Let me take the masking tape off for the final touch. Be quite careful with this, I've had some disasters. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you painted along with me. Please post what you've painted. And there we have it. Thank you very much.